So it is Tuesday, and once again, it has snowed. It is Saturday morning. It is freezing again. I feel like I'm getting out of spending all day with these stupid freaking bolts. It actually hit something down there in the hole. Alright, so it is Tuesday, and once again, it has snowed, as you can see. Even more snow out there. I haven't been out to the van since I did all that staining on Sunday, so I have a little bit of time here before work, so I'm going to run out there, take a look, and probably do that, move the wood off that stand, and hopefully have a little bit of time to mess around with those bolts and see what's going on there. Alright, so here we are. So it's been a couple days it's been sitting out here. It's obviously totally dry, and it looks really, really nice right now. So I'm going to try to get this somehow to be leaned up over there. Not a lot of space to work with right now though. Alright, so I moved that wood over there. Got a lot more space in here now. And I'm just going around testing all the different holes here. So I'm just screwing it down just enough to where I know that it kind of goes all the way through. I'm not going to go all the way down to the bottom. Just to make sure it's kind of cleared out and there's nothing clogging it that would prevent this from getting down in there. So this one seems fine. Gonna quick do the rest and get out of here because it is freezing cold. Alright guys, it is Saturday morning. It is freezing again. I think the high today is like 23, and with like wind chill, I think at least a little bit earlier it was like only like 12. As you can see, still tons and tons and tons of snow. They are saying we're supposed to get a little bit more snow. I'm not sure exactly how much. Sometime in the afternoon today, I think starting around like 4. So I'm hoping to get some stuff done before then. So I got my little heater here going. Got the van running for a little bit just to keep the battery going here. So what I'm hoping to do, I'm going to go inside, let this warm up a little bit, have a protein shake, do some dishes. Then it's going to be time to mess around this. I picked up a whole bunch more of those bolts. So I'm going to try to get this thing, I'm going to get this thing in place one way or another, whether I have to work with those holes even more or whatever, but somehow I'm getting that in place. And then it's going to be time to cut out the next piece and trace that. And hopefully get that all cut and sanded and everything before the snow starts coming down. So yeah, that is the plan for the day. Alright, back out here now. It is still super, super, super cold. Probably not going to be doing as much filming. One, because the last video was crazy long, and two, I'm actually wearing 2 pairs of gloves today because it is so cold, so it's just going to be a pain to try to get my phone unlocked and start the camera and then stop the camera. So I will just do periodic updates, I guess, anything important happening. For right now, like I said, first job is get this in the place, put the bolts in it, and then that way I can figure out exactly what's happening here, because I don't know if I need to kind of trim any of the edging there, if the wood's going to overlap with that, or if the wood will actually be like a little bit short. I'll need to add a little bit of paper to it for the template, so that way once I have this 100% in there with the bolts, I'll know for sure exactly what's happening with that, and then I can do the same thing, measure out 3 foot 11 inches, make a line going across, cut it out, trace it on wood, so forth, blah blah blah. So between how cold it is today and the fact that most of it is going to be kind of a repetition of what I did last week anyway, I'm going to not film nearly as much. Alright, so I got one bolt in, totally fine. But now I'm working on all these over here, and I'm still having that same issue. I even tested it early this week. I think I filmed that part where I got it to go in for all of them without the wood being on top. And now, this one, it's getting stuck after a couple turns. But if you look straight down, there's a hole right there. You can't get much more lined up than that. There should be plenty of room. I don't know what it's getting stuck on at this point. I'm considering just putting some oil on the bolts and getting them in there and see if that works, because they work fine. So I don't know what it is. I can't figure it out. It doesn't seem like it's getting stuck on the wood part itself. The holes are so big now because I was thinking it was the wood originally that it was getting stuck on when I was trying to get these in last week. So the holes are so gigantic, there's no way it's getting stuck on the wood. It's something with the actual, once it gets into those threads of the hole there, and it gets, a couple spins in and that's stuck. So yeah, I'm gonna keep messing with it. I might end up taking that one back out and moving this over and messing with them again. And if it comes down to it, I will put some freaking oil on there or something slippery on there to try to actually get these in there, because this is basically the last step here, is to get these in there, and so I can move on to the next piece. And I still can't get these in there even after testing it earlier this week. Alright, so I got a different one in there. I went to my pack here and took another one out. It was a huge pain, but I did get in there. This is the one I was trying to do before. I don't know if it's going to focus properly, and I can't really do anything with my gloves on, but this was the one that I was actually using initially when I was trying to get this in last week. And it looks like it's very hard to tell between the lighting in here. Even just me looking at it in person, it's hard to tell. And then with this piece of crap camera that won't focus, it's impossible to tell. But right along some of these first threads, it looks like there's, I don't know if it's scratched up or if there is like wood that's just stuck on there in between the threads. But it definitely looks like there is something going on with it. So I don't know if this one is really proper to use anymore. Oh, finally got in focus. Yeah, it's really hard to tell, but on some of the spots it looks like, especially right there, I think you can see on one of those threads, it looks like it's suddenly different than that side there. So this one might just be kind of dead and useless at this point. So I'm gonna keep trying with the other ones. I think I said earlier that I went and got a whole bunch more of these at Lowe's last night. So I have plenty to use right now. So this one might just be dead and useless. Alright, so I got those two in. Now some of these are pretty small holes, so it's going to be tough to get in there with just a screwdriver. And some of them actually seem to be angled still, as far as where the wood hole is compared to where the actual metal hole is in the van. And I'm thinking that's just because when I was initially putting all these holes in there, I didn't have it really held down in any way, so everything probably was shifting little by little as I did each hole. So these ones, those two are in there. However, it seems like some of the other ones are a little bit off. So I'm going to have to get my drill to make some of those holes a little bit bigger, or at least help get these in there with some extra power through those smaller wood holes. And then also some of them, again, I'm going to have to adjust the hole some more. Either take out those and adjust those and move it, or just adjust the other ones and then get those in there. But otherwise, everything else is looking pretty good. It lines up halfway decently. It is a little bit far back, which I think is because of these holes right here, whereas the other holes are a little bit, kind of need to be moved forward, the wood does. So I might end up taking out those two, move forward, see how the other holes are, see if I can get any bolts in, and then adjust the other ones. But otherwise, everything else lines up pretty well. It's flush up against that wall there. It has the proper kind of overhang here. You can see it basically goes right up to that metal ledge there, and then this curve is pretty much dead on. But just like the other spots up here, it kind of just needs to be moved forward a little bit. It doesn't need to be. It looks fine there. So I'm gonna grab my drill, and then we'll test out some of those different theories and figure out what's gonna work best. Okay, so I was able to get that one in there after I pushed it up, took the others out and pushed it up a little bit. So you can see it's a little bit, tighter of fit up front there. Not a major difference, but enough to where now I can't seem to get any of the other ones in. I did get close with this one. I actually thought it was going to go in. I was just manually screwing it in, and it was going and going and going. And it seems like, it got to the depth where it was in the metal. I couldn't tell for sure because this one is so tight. I have to actually screw through the wood instead of just kind of dropping it into the wood. And then it ended up getting stuck and jammed up. So I don't know how far I made it in, if it actually did get halfway through that metal and then for some reason get stuck, or if it got stuck right away in the middle. But either way, it is time to get that drill going and adjust some of these holes yet again, hopefully for the final time. Already starting to get frustrated and pissed off today. Oh my god. I've just been working on only this one, and I mean, I can find the hole where it's supposed to go, and I have it all lined up, and then I put the bolt in there and it just spins and spins and spins. I don't know what's going on. I had this one in there originally. It was one of the two that I originally had in there before I decided to move everything around this morning, and now all of a sudden it won't even find the hole. It's not even like it's getting stuck. It's just spinning and spinning and spinning. I keep drilling down there. The drill bit goes right down into the hole to make sure everything's lined up. It can definitely reach from the hole up through the wood. Doesn't seem to be anything blocking it, but this is just not working. I'm losing my mind with this project of trying to get these bolts in there. Honestly, I almost wish I would have just said fuck it and glued everything, except that it's so cold that the glue is not perfect. Like on the back of this, the insulation, it's stuck on there, but it didn't come out perfect. So that's the only reason I'm even still screwing around with this thing. It's just so annoying. Okay. For right now, I gave up on that because it pissed me off, and now this one's pissed me off. I mean, I can see straight down the hole. I'm using this bolt. It's not the bolt that was all screwed up, apparently from last time, and it just will not go in there. I am ready to lose my mind. If these bolts basically get screwed up every time that you screw them in and take them back out, I'm going to lose my shit on Lowe's. I don't understand why it will not screw into that hole. I mean, there's nothing blocking it there. It's just a straight shot down. You can see the fucking snow out there, and I'm losing my mind with this thing. It will not go in there. Look how massive that hole is compared to the freaking head of the thing. I mean, there's no reason this should not be going in there, and it just will get stuck over and over and over. There, it's stuck again. And it's just, why is it stuck? There's nothing blocking it at all. Alright, so I tried a different bolt, and it was a pain in the ass, but it went in there, which means that apparently these bolts are pieces of shit. And I think these are basically the only ones in this size. So I'm just going to keep working with them. They all end up going fucking bad from just using them the way they're supposed to be used. I guess I will go to Home Depot and find the same size, and this is ridiculous. So if you are looking to get bolts, don't go to Lowe's, and don't get these specific ones by Hillman, because apparently they absolutely suck and are garbage. So I am, like I said, I already bought several packs of them, so I'm going to keep using them. So I have to go get the other ones out of my car, because apparently these two that I have here are just total shit now and useless bolts that I paid money for. And then keep working on going around to the rest of these holes here. Okay, I feel like I'm getting out of spending all day with these stupid freaking bolts. So there's the two that I have in so far. This one, I mean, I've opened up other packs to try out different ones. I still can't figure out what is going on here. I have got it to actually catch with the threads a few times, but that ends up getting stuck. But most of the time, it just spins and spins and spins and nothing happens. I mean, you can't really see it here, but with the light on it, I mean, you can see the hole. It goes, I don't understand it. It doesn't make any sense. This one, I mean, it goes into the hole, it spins, and then gets stuck. I don't know what else to do with these stupid freaking bolts. I'm losing my mind here. I'm probably not going to get anything accomplished today, really, because by the time I finish dealing with these, if I even can finish dealing with these, the snow will probably start, and then I can't cut wood. I am so ready to take a fucking hammer and smash these bolts and the piece of wood. But I'm not going to do that. I'm going to keep trying with this stupid crap. I mean, the wood is just so, I mean, I've scratched it back up. I've had to widen the holes. It is looking pretty shitty. And I don't know what else to do with it. I mean, I just keep widening the holes and put it in again, and it gets stuck, and then widen it again to see, and then it gets stuck. It makes no sense. I don't know if it's the bolts, because I mean, I'm trying just brand new ones that have never been used, and it still gets stuck. So I don't know what the issue is here. I keep trying everything that I can think of, and it just keeps getting stuck. No matter what hole it is, no matter what bolt I use, I try to make the holes as huge as possible to make sure it's not getting stuck on the wood. It's not going in an angle and getting stuck, and it still just keeps getting stuck. I don't know what else to do with it. Alright, so just to show you guys here, if I can get it pick up good. I mean, this is the bolt. It's, you know, touching the hole there. It's not rubbing against like the wood. It's not at a weird angle. It's ready to go there, and then you spin it, you spin it, you spin it, and there it's stuck. So I mean, it's not angled one way or another. I mean, the camera's angled right now just because the way I'm holding it, but it's not stuck against, you know, the wood. Is just stuck in that freaking hole. And this is, you know, a brand new one. I just opened up that pack and I tried out that one and this one here, and it just keeps getting stuck. I don't know how much bigger I can keep making these holes before eventually I just basically have to start over with a new piece of wood, because it's just going to be full of giant holes. And I mean, I only want to do, you know, the silicone so much to fill up like the cracks. I only wanted to use it around the edges, but now I'm gonna have to use it on like half the piece of wood, because there's giant holes in there because the stupid bolts won't go into the stupid hole that they're meant to go into. Okay, so what I did, I lifted the whole thing up and put in the bolts individually without the wood being on there. It was a pain. I think whatever that gunk is that they had in there originally with the bolts, like some type of, like, maybe they wanted to kind of seal them. I think that stuff is A, causing an issue because it's cold and that just all that gunk is in there, and B, I think it's catching the sawdust, and that's not helping it at all either, kind of just clogging it up when I'm trying to put things in there. So I am going to now retry this after I take a quick bathroom break. Hopefully it goes better. I don't know. Alright, so that one is going in. I just left it up because in case I need to take it up again, no point in just putting it all the way down. This one I just had in there. These were the two that I had in there, and now it's getting stuck again. Like I said, this is driving me absolutely crazy today. I don't know. I really don't know. I just had this in there, and then when I picked up the wood, I put it in there again to test it, and now that the wood's back down, now it won't go in. It's obviously lined up in the same place where it was before, because this bolt is in there just like it was before, and now this one that was in there together with that one is not going in. I don't know. I don't know what to do. I probably said that a million times so far in this video. I'm losing my mind with this. It is absolutely driving me crazy. I don't know. I mean, I started drilling some more in this one, even though, like I said, I don't think the wood is a problem. The holes are big enough for the bolts. It's just the stupid holes that they're going to keep getting jammed up. Either the holes or the bolts themselves. Something is getting jammed up and it's not working. And like I said, I just had all these bolts in there. I mean, I used one and I went around to each spot and made sure it could go all the way in there and come all the way back out. And now all of a sudden, it's an issue because I can't get that one in. And now this one, I mean, this one hole is absolutely huge. And like I said, I just had it in here with the wood. And now suddenly it won't fit. I am really running out of ideas. I might end up going and just grabbing some type of oil. I don't even know what I would use exactly, and seeing if that would work, because like I said, I mean, I just had this bolt in this hole with the wood and then without the wood, and now the wood is back down and it won't go in. So I don't know what else to do with this. Okay, so what I did, I just took this and just powered through it. I wasn't sure if I was gonna breaking something by doing that because it was really jammed up there. but it ended up pushing it down. That's what I'm going to just do from now on. I'm going to get it started with the screwdriver to get it lined up and get it in there. And then if it gets stuck, fuck it, I'm just going to do this, and hopefully it doesn't end up breaking anything, because I am just so pissed off and tired of dealing with these bolts at this point. I don't care. I'm just forcing them with this, and we'll see what happens. Okay, so that isn't work. I mean, this top got destroyed, and now the wood's all fucked up. Basically, I got it down there until it was stuck with a screwdriver, just like I did with that one. Then went to use this, pushed it down as hard as I could, and drilled it in there. Got stuck. Wouldn't go any further. Kept, messing up the top of it. Brought it back out. Put it back in with a screwdriver a couple times, and then this last time, it kicked off so hard when it got stuck that it kind of threw the screwdriver, not the screwdriver, the drill, and ended up gashing out part of the floor there. Wonderful. Yeah, I mean, this one is like literally the bolt goes straight down, hits that hole, goes in for a couple of turns, and then it's stuck. I mean, it's not in an angle, it's not being stuck on the side of the wood. It hits it, it can screw in multiple times, and then it's stuck. And like I said, I went through all of these, every single hole, and tested it without the wood being in the way, and it went in. And now all of a sudden it can't go in, even with using the drill here. It's driving me freaking crazy. I am losing my mind. I'm going to take all these bolts and throw them the fuck out. Okay, so managed to get this one in there. It's still that same screwed up one with the top that got all messed up from not cooperating. Still got that freaking hole there. Obviously that's not going anywhere anytime soon. Basically I just took it out with the screwdriver, put it back in again, and then just bit by bit I just kind of like pulse the drill, almost like you do with a blender sometimes, where you just give it little pulses, and it finally got in there. I tell you what, I am so glad that the only spot that I'm using these built-in bolt holes are on the floor. Everything else I'm gonna just be doing on my own. They don't have any specific holes really. I mean, there are holes in the frame and stuff, but they're not bolt holes or anything really that I can see. And I mean, I wouldn't use them anyway, even for they put all that crap in there when I initially took out, especially all the white bolts, not so much on the black ones. They had all that like sealant kind of gunk on them, and I really think that is just what's clogging it up. And then any sawdust that gets in there is just making it worse. So I'm just going to keep going with that idea right now. I'm just going to screw it in and then just pulse it in there, so hopefully it doesn't go flying off and gash any more giant chunks out of the floor that I'm going to have to re-stain over. So we'll see how far we get. I'm still messing with this one and getting nowhere. I mean, the hole's right down there, and I can't get, I mean, most of the time it just spins and spins and spins and doesn't do anything. So I'm just going to move on from that one. I'll just save that one for last, and then I can just fight with it over and over and over. Alright, so got that one in. That one went in pretty easy. The hole was still pretty small, so I screwed it in through the wood, used a screwdriver. Once it started getting pretty tight with the metal, did that pulsing technique, and then it just went right on in. Hopefully I get lucky with where's that one there. That's the last one for the side, besides that freaking mystery hole that I can't solve. So I will do this one right there, and then head on over to the other side. I think there's just 3 over there. Do those, and then deal with that one, making it sound much easier than I'm sure it will be. I'm sure this one and then the other side is probably going to be a huge pain in the ass. And this one, I feel like, is some kind of like impossible puzzle to solve or something. I don't know what to do with that one. So we'll see how far we get here. Alright, so let's see if we can get this to show up here. See, I'm still working on that hole here. And I keep trying to that pulsing technique, and it keeps still getting stuck. And now I actually pulled it out, and it actually has been getting stuck on whatever it's getting stuck on there, to the point where it actually stripped off a like a layer of metal there that's hanging off on the side. I mean, it goes down fine. It's straight. It goes in there part of the way, and then just like everything else, it just gets stuck. Yeah, I mean, I blew out that hole to make sure that there's not stuff stuck in there. Made sure this one was all clean and looked fine, and I mean the hole is big enough. Everything seems to be fine about it. I don't know what else I could do with it. I'm trying. I thought I found the perfect technique of that pulsing the drill to get it in there, and now, of course, after just a few of those worked, now that's not working either. So I'm not sure what else to try here. This one seems like it's obviously dead. Another wonderful bolt from Lowe's there. So that is just going to be whipped in the trash pile. And I'll try another one, see what the hell happens. Alright, so I tried another one. So this is just after the first attempt with it. As you can see, top is already getting screwed up. And now down here, so this whole area is nice and smooth, and then this area where it actually is going in to it, it's actually like rough and kind of catches on my glove in some spots there, whereas here it's nice and smooth. So there's definitely something in there that is screwed up. I don't know if the threads on the hole are screwed up, or if there's just a bunch of crap stuck in there that is kind of grinding the end. I don't know. But this one, yeah, same kind of thing. Went in fine initially, and then just randomly gets stuck at some point. And then I try to use the drill, and it just eats the top of this up, and will not go in. Just tried, drilling a little bit more on this side, see if that would loosen it up a bit. If that was the issue, didn't really seem to do anything. Blew it out again to try to get any dust out of there, but so far nothing. Alright, so I'm just moving on from that for right now because I am getting nowhere, just destroying bolt after bolt. At some point I might just grab some WD-40 and see what that does with that one. I don't know if that'll really help this one at all because that one just spins in circles and doesn't even do anything. But now I'm going to move on to this side over here, wherever the holes are, and attempt these and see where I get with those. Alright, so we are back in business. That first one, initially put in with a screwdriver, got stuck, and then pulsed it right in, and as you can see, it is in there. So now, another one there, and then it's back to the other side. It's being a pain in the ass. Alright, we got another one that's stuck. So I'm going to have to take that back out and see what's going on. I mean, it looks nice and straight. Doesn't seem like it's stuck on any wood. So let's see what's going on. Okay, got this one in. Had to do a little bit of drilling. The hole was a little bit off, so the hole was initially kind of like here, and the metal hole was more like up here. So I had to kind of extend it. I didn't want to go too crazy with it because these three are going to be the ones that are definitely kind of exposed here because they're right here within the walkway. It's not anything too bad or too crazy. I could touch it up with a tiny bit of stain or something there, just around the edges. This one looks like totally fine. There is that scratch going along there, but that's from before I even stained, so that's why it looks all dark like that. But overall, turned out decent. This one already is a pretty gaping hole, so we'll see how far we get with that. Hopefully I can get it right in there and I don't have to make that any bigger. It's kind of hard to tell if that's... Some of them you can see right through to the snow, and some of them are kind of dark and you can't really tell what you're looking at. So we'll see if I can get right in there or not. Actually, it looks like the hole is actually right there in like the center, although it can't focus because it just won't. So you're just looking at a big blur. So let's see how it goes. Okay, so this one is going just like the one on the other side, where it's just spinning and spinning and spinning. And the weird thing, they're actually kind of the same shape holes, where they're like ovalish shape. Just kind of ended up working out that way, unfortunately. I'm going to continue to fight with this one for a little bit, if I get too pissed off at it, I will go back to the other side and work on the other two that are still undone over there, and just keep working on them until I get these last three in. Okay, so got that one in. That was the one that was ripping the metal off of the bolts. So that one was really tough. Ended up getting in there using the pulsing thing again. So I screwed it in until it got stuck. Use this, but I mean, I would give it to just the tiniest tap, quickest, tiniest little light tap, and the whole screwdriver would like jerk over there. My arm would jerk, and then I'd bring it back, give it another little light tap, and it would jerk over. I mean, just getting that one bolt in, that was like a freaking workout for my like my shoulder and arm. But it is in there, so those 5 are all in there. So I still just have this one that just spins around and does nothing, and the one on the other side that spins around and does nothing. So, I mean, I finally got fed up working with the other one and came back over to this side, and now I'm just stuck. I have really no choice but to deal with these 2 pain in the assholes now. Alright, so working with this one again, it hasn't, I just tried 2 times in a row, and it hasn't been doing the spinning, doing nothing. It's doing more of the stuck, and then when I try to do the pulsing, it is just even more stuck than I realized. So as you can see, like the other hole was doing before, it is ripping the metal off of the bolts. Fun. So I am gonna, I don't know, just keep trying. I mean, I eventually got that one that was doing the same thing, was destroying the bolts. So I'm just gonna keep working at this one and see how far I can get with it. Okay, so it is not going in there. Grab the WD-40. We're going to see how this works. Going to try spraying some down in there. See what happens. Hopefully this ends up working. Alright, so the WD-40 worked out. It ended up going there. The shitty thing about having to use this, especially at the max setting, to get these in there, is it's very hard to tell when it's actually in there. And so I ended up overdoing it on this one, and it ended up messing up the wood there a little bit. Kind of pushed, so hard down that it pushed the wood down and ended up splitting it. I mean, 1, this is probably covered up with cabinet stuff, and 2, I can just chuck, a dab of stain on there. I'm going to end up having to fill this hole anyway with silicone. So, yeah, alright, last one. I guess I'm going to do the same thing, WD-40, and see how it goes. Alright, this one is just not cooperating. I hit it with the WD-40. I tried giving it some more drilling to give it some more space in there, but it's just spinning and spinning and spinning. It's not even locking up really and getting stuck or anything. It just spins and spins. So I don't know, I'm going to see if I can, shove something down there that could like absorb anything, or if any dust or there's a bunch of snow all over, maybe that's blocking it up, and so it's just spinning on top rather than actually getting down in there. I don't know. I don't know what else to do. So maybe I'll just shove like the tip of my glove down in there and pull it back out, see what happens. Okay, it is finally in there. I ended up drilling out this side a bit more, and WD-40'd it again, and then finally got in there with the that pulsing drill technique. As you can see, like a bunch of the other ones, I definitely have some gaps to fill in there, but otherwise it is down with all of the bolts in there. 1, 2, 3 there, and then all 6 there. I mean, this was such a project. I seriously have like flashbacks. Like when I turned around, I expected there'd be like one missing and be like, oh no, I have another to do. I don't even know how many hours I've spent on this, because I spent a good amount of time last weekend on it, and now I've spent, it's 11 o'clock right now, I think, and I came out here probably at like, 8 to start working on just literally putting in 9 bolts into the floor. Literally nothing else. No staining, no sanding, just putting 9 bolts in here. And it took at least 3+ hours of time. So I'm gonna go inside, warm up for a bit. Even with, I got two pairs of socks on, including one of these that are literally meant for super cold weather, called heat holders. They are not holding their heat, and I got my big ass boots on, and my toes are still freezing. So I am gonna go inside, warm up a little bit, and then come out, and I am gonna have some serious work to do over here because this it's just got all screwed up from constantly messing with this because of the bolts. So you can see it's wet, it's ripped, it's crumpled. So it is not a very good template right now. So I'm going to see, hopefully I can kind of like restore it a little bit, take some, pieces and kind of re-strengthen it, straighten it out. Because I really don't feel like re-templating again today. If I had to do that, I know I'm getting nothing done before the snow comes. So hopefully I can just patch this up and get it in working order, and then be able to move on, cut that out, and cut the wood. Alright, so back out here. This piece obviously is in here with all the bolts. This template is becoming a mess. So I'm going to clear all this junk off of here. And then I think I'm just going to add like a strip going across here. Kind of to reinforce it. And then hopefully I can at least get the wood cut out before the snow starts. It's about noon right now, or I don't know, 11:45 or whatever. And according to the weather, it might start by 3, if not maybe a little bit later. So I want to see how far I can get. If I can at least get one piece cut, at least it'll be easier getting the wood back in here, because I already had to haul those 2 big ass boards out of here this morning. I would rather not put them right back where they came from. I would rather have at least one cut so it's easier to handle. So I am going to clear this up, add that strip on there with some tape. I think the tape is back there somewhere, I gotta find it. And then measure, cut, all that fun stuff. Alright, so I got all this cleared off of here. Haven't laid down the kind of reinforced strip here along this. But I did just pop this up here, so it's just kind of like just resting against here, and it is a really good size. I think at the very edge here, probably could use a slight trim, so make it fit a little bit easier. But otherwise, it really matches up really well so far. This, I think some of it might be a little bit too long. And so it's getting kind of bunched up here. So I am going to use my little X-Acto blade and kind of just cut along here. Some of it's going to be a pain because I'm sure this is kind of like mushy. And then we also got duct tape in the way. So give it a little trim, make it fit a little bit better, add some reinforcement to it so it's not falling apart like here where it's all ripped and it's going to be really hard to trace. And then do the measurement and get it out there. Alright, so I just want to show you what I did here. So to get rid of those random kind of bumps and stuff, I actually slid all the paper out from underneath this wood and insulation. Doing it carefully so not to rip it any more than it already is. And then basically just pushed it down and kind of stretched it out so it is kind of coming up against the side here of this insulation and wood. Now I can basically just take that blade and just go down. You can see it really well over here. It really goes up the sides, even above it actually there. So I can just go down and basically just put the blade pointing right towards the corner where the insulation is and just go right down the line and get a nice even cut hopefully, and then throw on a little bit more of that paper to help out, especially these zones where it's really ripped, wet, all that. Okay, so running into some issues here. I'm not sure which is the bigger problem, or if they're both an issue versus mainly just one. The insulation is slightly sticking out all along here, and the paper is wet and crinkled up and ripped and all that. So as I'm trying to go along cut, instead of getting a nice even cut, where I just put it in the corner and go right down, you have this insulation sticking out. So I'm trying to cut it basically along there, where it might end up cutting the insulation as well, and then cut the paper. But instead, I'm really just getting a whole bunch of rips. I don't know if that's because the paper is so weak, or because instead of cutting it against a nice hard surface like the bottom of the van, I am cutting it against this insulation that has some give to it. but it is just not working out nearly as easily as I thought it was going to be. I think I might just skip the cutting, put on that reinforced, and cut the reinforced paper instead. Although I don't know how that really solves a whole lot, because if I cut the reinforced and then this is underneath it, this will be sticking out still longer than the reinforced. So I don't know. I'm going to figure it out. Alright, so I think I'm actually going to do something different here. I was getting ready to roll that out. Got my tape and everything, but that is going to be just a whole nother project, trying to roll that from side to side here, because we have the overhang, we have the wheel wells there, because this is so long and I would be going this direction with it, it would end up having to maneuver around all of that. And then like I was talking about before, we would have the issue of that still not being perfectly even, really, because if this is cut perfectly the size, but then this is still overly long, you end up with the same problem. So I think instead what I'm going to do is measure it out, cut it, take it out to the wood, and then make it a little bit bigger on this side. Kind of don't follow the lines perfectly, kind of stay outside a little bit, and then chuck it in here, and I'm sure it won't fit, but then I can just little by little kind of take it down, get it closer and closer, because the more time that I take messing around in here, the more wet it gets, the more crinkle it gets from stepping on it. So I think it's time to just screw it, measure it, and cut it. Not screw, I'm not going to put screws in it, but you know what I mean. Alright, so I had to go grab a pen. I realized I didn't have one out here. But before I measure, I just want to say, it is amazing how much easier this is to deal with some of the stuff now that I have part of a floor in here. Because before, to try to avoid walking all over this with boots, I was trying to take them off while standing, like balancing there on 1 foot at a time. And now I have a spot where I can just kind of like put some of the tools, leave my boots there on the towel, and the temperature difference. I'm standing here right now with my socks on, obviously, and it's just the floor and the paper, and then there, obviously there's the insulation and the wood there, and the temperature difference is so big. So over here, my feet are definitely chilly being on this floor. But standing over there, it's actually not nearly as bad. It's definitely still chilly just in here because it's not insulated. It's only using that little tiny heater, and I keep opening and closing the door all the time. But the floor temperature, such a big difference. So I can't wait to finally get the whole floor in here eventually, because that's going to just be so much better to be able to not have to worry about standing on this stupid paper. It's going to be warmer. Yeah, so let's get this measured out. Okay, so doing some of the first measurements here. Got a couple lines going on. One of the issues that is coming up is when I try to push this tape measure up close to that wood, it actually wants to kind of go up because of the way that paper is. So I'm not sure how perfectly accurate the measurements are going to be, because the tape measure ends up being kind of angled a little bit, going upwards. So I have been trying to only put it on the upper ribs of the floor as opposed to the lower ones, because the lower ones are even more accentuated going up because it's at a lower point, going all the way up that paper. But otherwise, just laying down the initial lines here, and then gonna do the same thing, do it on a couple more over here, do it on the other side, try to connect them all the best I can, and get it cut out. And just to show you guys what it looks like measurement wise, so it goes to, just so you can see, right there's 311, so that's where I'm planning on cutting out. That gives me that wiggle room, just like I did with the last piece. And you can see that there's not much left after this. It's definitely going to be a tricky spot with the area by the door, as you saw when I was making the cutout for that. I do need to move this piece of wood before I can finish this spot. But really, yeah, when you get those 4x8s, you can almost do it with 2, but not quite. It just come up a little bit short, so I'm definitely going to have leftover wood, which will be good because I can use that for other projects, like finishing up, making that area look nice down by the step there. And then even using it for cabinets, countertops, whatever, anything like that. So that'll be nice. So yeah, so let's keep making these lines. at some point, like I said, I'm going to have to either move this over there somewhere or take it outside and then get it cut out. And so far, you can't see anything out there because it is covered in snow, the windshield, but I don't see any new snow coming down yet, so that is good news. Alright, so that line is on there going across. So I'm gonna actually take a bathroom break and then come out here, cut this out, and hopefully by the time I do all that, still no snow, I can get out there and run the jigsaw on it real quick. Alright, so from my last video, you know how I feel about these scissors, and I picked them up, and it seemed like somehow there was a little bit of that glue that I used for the insulation on the wood. Not that piece of wood, that piece of wood. Like in between here. I don't even know how that's possible because they were closed, and I didn't use these at all when I was working with the insulation. Like I used the blade when I was cutting the excess insulation and stuff. So yeah, these are probably going to be even shittier than last time, so I really need to remember to pick up better scissors at some point. Okay, so it is cut all the way along here. Obviously you can see where some of the damage even on this side from moisture and just walking on it. So it had a little hole forming there, but overall pretty even cut. Similar issues to when I was cutting the other one, or really drawing out the line for the other one. Every time you have one of these humps where it goes up and down, your line gets kind of screwed up when you're trying to stay right along the tape measure. Already talked about in the other video, so I'm not going to go over into explaining all those details, but basically same process. Got it all good to go here. Just gonna make sure it is not taped down anywhere. I don't want to end up ripping it. I know right now it feels like it feels a little bit stuck. It's coming up pretty good. And then I'll just have to take that out there, get the wood set up on top of it, and I put this right on top. I just realized I filmed the whole thing in slow-mo because my hands are super cold and covered in snow, so I probably was hitting stuff I wasn't supposed to hit. So I'm just redoing this real quick. These legs down here are a little rocky because it's hard to find anything that's level because of all the ice and snow. So I kind of moved around a little bit, put a little snow under one side, hoping that it holds up decent enough to handle me cutting on it without it flipping over or anything like that. So let's get the template on it and trace it all out. Alright, so I got it taped down here. Luckily, way less windy compared to last week. Unfortunately, it is cold as hell. It is so much colder out here than it was in the van. I'm going to grab the drill, put in some of those holes for the bolts, and hopefully they line up decently this time. And then we will start drilling, sawing whatever, jigsawing. Okay, so there we go, in focus. Put in the holes for the potential spots where the bolts are going to go. So I have that side all the way up against the wood. I have that corner all the way up against the wood, and so I traced out there, traced out going along here, and then here there's a edge. I am gonna just leave that for now because I don't know exactly, with that overhang that was there, I don't know exactly the length. I might need to take off more than that, than what's here. I might need to leave a little bit extra. So I'm just gonna leave it alone for now and just cut, just following that line, just continuing out along that same arc. I did the same kind of thing over on that side, and then we'll whip it in there, and I'm sure just like last time we'll be whip it in there, see it doesn't fit, come out here, trim off a little piece, take it back and forth over and over and over. So we'll see how it goes. I am going to disconnect that little heater so I can connect the jigsaw, and then I will cut it out and we'll be back after that. Alright, so it is cut. Actually move this trash can here to be underneath the piece that was here because it was such a large piece. It was, when I was cutting it, it was starting to lean way down, and I knew that as I cut it, it was eventually just going to snap, and it was probably not going to be snapping in the place I wanted. So I put that underneath as like a support over there. But otherwise, I'll cut out there. Gonna take off the template and then take it in for the first attempt to fit it in, and probably bring it back out to cut some more. Okay, so it's in here kind of. it is just getting stuck because vans, as most people know, kind of curve in as you go up. So I'm trying to figure out how exactly I'm going to get it into a position where I can lay it down. One thing adding difficulty is because of the way, just the measurement, how it ended up, I have that little bit of angle out there that's going to be going around that corner of the wheel well, and same thing on that side. And then obviously these long edges that go from side to side, but also this is part of the step area right there that's going to be sticking out. So I'm just having some trouble figuring out how I'm going to exactly lay this down. I might end up moving this piece of wood and just using the back doors from now on. That might be a little bit easier, but I think either way it's going to be tough. Okay, so getting closer. So it is angled right now, so obviously it's too big, but because of how angled it is, I can't tell exactly what needs to be cut, because I don't know exactly what it is that's keeping it. I mean, obviously that notch right there that sticks out is kind of holding up right now, but that's supposed to go back into that corner there, so I don't want to just cut that out. But looking back there, that looks like it lines up decently, so maybe if I take off a hair here, but I don't see how that will affect this laying down. If I cut along this edge, it looks like it will end up touching this wood here, but I mean, it's not even touching it right now at all. It's just being held up over here. So I'm thinking that this is what's going to have to be taken down, but it's so hard to judge when it's this drastically angled like this. The other piece was pretty easy. I could see what was rubbing against what and just take that down, but this, all I really have to go on is that little notch, and I don't want to take that in too much because I know it's supposed to be there, but that's the only thing that's really bumping up against anything from what I can tell. So I might try to pick this up one more time, angle it the other way, where I put this side down first and have this one up in the air and slide it back in, and see what's catching on what then on any other sides. Alright, so I flip-flopped it the other way around. So again, it's angled up, and I think I might just need to take in the side just overall. But this is a tough predicament because that actually looks pretty good for right now. That notch there fills it up pretty nicely, so I don't want to really mess with anything with that because there's a notch and that goes right up against the wall and goes along the wheel well. So it seems like that is the right size relative to everything else. So I don't know. Let me go over here. So it seems like I think we just need more space here by this wheel well, but I don't know which side is supposed to be coming in or not. I don't know. I guess I will just attempt to take it in a little bit around the edge on one side maybe, and leave the other side alone, and see where that gets me, because I am not sure what else to do. I don't know. It's just not fitting. Yeah, it is. It seems like it's stuck, and stuck along right here. It's stuck along going across here. So it seems like that whole area kind of needs to be trimmed out somewhere. So I guess I will go ahead and do that. Okay, so I took off some on this side. I need to take off a little bit more down towards that end, and then that should be looking good right there as far as fitting flat going across. And then the only other thing is I'm gonna need to take off some on that, and you can see it's catching there just a tiny bit. So I'll just take off a little bit of that, and then hopefully that should be fitting right in there. And it's just a matter of figuring out if those bolt holes remotely line up or not. Alright, so back in here again. Still stuck a little on that side, and still just a little too long. You can see it's so close, but it's a little bit too long there. This side over here seems to be sticking up quite a bit over here. I'm not sure if that's because they have all that sealant kind of pulled up over there. If that's going to end up being an issue with getting this down even. But right now, I gotta trim that a little bit more. And trim just going along here a tiny bit more. I mean, I want to really be careful not taking off too much, because I don't want there to end up being a big gap in between these two boards here. So I think my main focus right now is going to be messing with that. That way I can at least see how it looks lying semi-flat. So I need to take off, see right there it's really jammed up, and right along here. And then we'll see how that affects everything else and how much more I need to take off that area. Okay, so I haven't even gotten this out of here yet. This board is going to be something. Because that notch over there ends up going a little bit underneath this piece of metal here. You can see the little angles that kind of go around the wheel wells there, the way that this sticks out and the step sticks out. This is going to drive me crazy. I mean, you like lift up one side and the other side gets stuck, and then you try to move the other side and then this side's stuck, and yeah, so honestly, that notch might end up going. I don't want to take anything out because I mean, it's all, cut to be around, everything, but that notch right there I know is going to be a pain to deal with. But I mean, there's multiple things here that are going to be a pain to deal with. Trying to get this in and out of here. Every time getting in and out is just like a battle. That notch that goes around over there, around that little corner, is already starting to get a little like beat up looking from just constantly trying to get in and out of here. So yeah, maybe if you are doing this, maybe start at the back and go forward. Maybe it'll end up just magically being easier. Maybe things will just, when you measure it out, it'll end up being different. I don't know, but so far this middle piece is just something else. I can't wait for the last piece because that one's going to be easy getting out. The only thing that's going to be tough is obviously figuring out how far out it's going by those doors. But otherwise, there's not really a whole lot of notches because the wheel well's already kind of taken care of there. So I think it's going to be a lot easier getting in and out, and it's going to be just a lot smaller of a piece of wood. Whereas this is just getting stuck on everything. So I'm going to try to get this thing out of here and then cut that area over there again. Alright, it is a tight fit over here. You can see it goes right up to there, but from what I'm feeling, it goes right on down to those upper ridges or whatever you want to call them. And it seems to be in there. So I'm going to call that good from what I can tell. Only thing now to deal with is figure out why that is so high up, and figure out exactly how much and where I'm going to need to cut along here. Like I said, I don't want to cut off too much, leaving a gap, especially near that edge. Because over here I could always, put some of that fake wood, silicone stuff, and it won't look great, but at least it'll do the job. But out there, that's going to be a little bit trickier. So I definitely want to make sure that lines up as close as possible. And at some point, I definitely need to put supports under there because I keep occasionally stepping on there thinking it's a usable step, and then I feel the whole thing bend. And so I definitely want to put something under there to give that some support. Alright. Okay, so I think I need to take a breather, get warm for a little bit, let my brain think about how I'm going to do this without screwing this wood up here. So I have to deal with this edge, cutting it smaller but not too small. Wish it was an easier way just to mark exactly how long, how much I need to cut off, but because it's angled like this and I can't even see the wood underneath here to know exactly how much it is, it's really just a lot of kind of guesswork there. And then at some point also, I'm probably going to need to figure out what's going on over there, because I don't know if cutting into that's just really going to do anything to fix that. I mean, it definitely hangs over, but it's not even actually touching it. So I don't know if it's just slightly warped and that's lifting up there, or if there's something going on over there. If I cut that a little bit shorter or angle it somehow, to end up getting that to lie flat in that corner. But otherwise, looking pretty good. Seems pretty flat over there. Nice snug fit. And that pain in the ass piece over in that corner there is under there. Alright, so time for a break, and I'll come back out and figure out what the hell I'm doing with this. Okay, so I decided what I want to do with this. Did some thinking about it. I'm going to take a pencil and just do a line right up close near the edge. Any spot that is definitely overlapping with the other wood. So like over here, I can see that it looks like I'm going to be able to get that down without it overlapping all. I might be wrong once I cut it. Maybe I will have to take a bit off there. But for now it looks good. So any spot that's definitely overlapping though, I'm going to take that pencil, make a line going on it, and that way I know where I definitely should be cutting a little bit off and where I definitely shouldn't be cutting anything off. And then we'll see how it fits again. Alright, so I made that cut. You can see definitely a lot closer here, but there's still some spots that need to be trimmed down a little bit more, including down here. I made this mark saying don't cut past there. Actually, I think I do need to take off a little bit going on there now that it's kind of lower down. I can see that it's bumping up against that. And then now down here, this is still raised up a good amount. So once I lift this up, I'm going to take a better look at what's going on back there. And while I have it out there, I might end up taking a little bit off back there towards that corner. Either this way, or maybe even more this way, maybe a little bit of both. So I'll see what that's looking like exactly. So I'm going to make some more pencil markings showing what exactly needs to be cut. Like right around there, a little bit down there, and make another cut. Okay, so I made that cut. When I looked at this, I found out that there was some old insulation I just whipped right there, actually under there. So I think that could have been part of the problem. Still looks raised up though, so I'm going to have to see what I can do about that again. I am going to trim just a little bit more off there. There's some like creaking noises, so I think it's just a little too tight over there. It might not be fully set down. It's hard to tell because right along there is a low point in the the dips, so I can't tell if it's not touching the bottom because it's just just going flat across right over top of that low point, or if it's because it actually is a little bit raised up still. Over here though, this got closer. Need to take off a little bit more there, a little bit over here still, and then that area is looking pretty good down there. But over here I'm going to have to take off some more. So it seems like every time I take off some more it gets a little bit lower, but then more stuff ends up catching on it. Okay, so just checking out this corner. I made the cut along this kind of edge. Still got out there just taking a look at this. So it looks like this area specifically has really got a good amount of gunk on there that could be potentially blocking it. Over here, not really much, basically the same thing as over there. So I'm not too worried about that. Maybe a tiny bit over here. It gets a little heavy. This is that pain area. It's really pretty thick on there. So I am going to, then the only other spot, I didn't notice it until actually right now while filming. So this is the high spot, the ridges and all that. But this one spot here is hard to pick up with the camera, but it actually goes up even higher than that high spot. That could end up being a problem. So I'm gonna, just notice that. The other side doesn't really have that issue because the wheel well starts actually at a low spot, it looks like. This one, most of it's low, you know, going all along there, but then we get this high kind of block, and then it gets even higher right here as it gets close up to it. So yeah, so I might take a little bit off of there. I might end up having to take some off of there. I'm going to experiment with this spot first. And then, and I also need to, I just remember I got to cut that area down there. So we'll see how all that does. So I'm going to cut a little bit out there, a little bit down there, and then we'll see how it fits. If it's still having issues where this area is too high, this area right here, I might need to cut around, which isn't a huge deal. Just one more factor to think about, trying to figure out exactly what's causing this to not lay down flat over here. Alright, so did some of those cuts. This, obviously there's a little bit of gap now, but I never really expected to line it perfect, considering I'm pretty new to this. All lines up pretty good, except down here, still raised up. I think I might need to take a little bit off of here. I'm not 100% sure on why. So over here, I mean, I imagine it's higher because there is that, you know, extra raised part over here. Over here, it does seem like that spot specifically is kind of, might be caught in something. So I don't know, I'm just gonna have to kind of experiment. I think I'm gonna take a bit off of at least this area, if not just going all the way straight down. And then I'll probably end up needing to take off a hair right in that area as well. I might end up needing to take off a little bit there because I see that's right up against it. But I am definitely close. I took that piece out right there, so that fits nice and good. So we are definitely getting pretty close to getting this piece to actually fit flat in here. Alright, so I made some of those cuts over here. I went and pushed it from that end over, and it actually looks a lot better over here now. Definitely a better fit there. Over here it's still just up too high. So this seems like not really, oh, well there it is. It's in there. So it seems to be pretty good. That area there kind of wants to pop up. I don't know if we can really catch on camera. But I think once I get some bolts in there, that'll be fine. I think it's just because it's on that raised up spot, like I was saying. It's above the lower spot. Same kind of thing over there, basically. So seems fine. All right, so that is in there. All right, so I think next I'm just gonna start working on these bolt holes before I worry about sanding. Really rethinking this now. What I would do next time if I ever build out another van or building, you know, putting the floor in a tiny house, anything like that, I would get the floor to fit all the different pieces. Any type of bolts or whatever I'm going to be using down, worry about those for everything, and then sand it all, stain it all, anything like that. But now I already did that whole piece, and you can see it's, you know, with getting this wood in and out of here, it's getting kind of, it's got snow all over it. It's got, you know, I'm sure it's got some scrape marks from sliding this wood across. I'm not going to worry about it right now. Once I get everything in here, I am going to sand and stain this before I would do the next one, just so that way everything kind of matches. But once everything's in here, stained, bolts in, all that stuff, then I might go back, do another kind of like final stain on it, and then do some type of sealant. I want to find something that isn't like so toxic. I feel like people say polyurethane is not the best thing to use, although I have seen some people use it, so I'm not sure. But put something on there. It's going to help, you know, kind of waterproof it a little bit from, you know, moisture and things like that. So yeah, so that's my plan is I am going to sand and stain this one, and then same thing for that one. And once they're all in here and it's all done, sand and stain, not sand it again, but stain it. Well, maybe sand it depending on how nicked up it is, I guess. But then do a final stain and some type of sealant. Alright, so like I said, bolt holes before anything else, because those are just a huge pain in the ass. And after I'm done bolt holes, I'm going to have to sand anyway, so I might as well just do that first. Alright, so quick update. So I disconnected the saw, since I don't need that, since it's all fitting in there now. Reconnected a little heater, get that going. Got my drill. I do have to take out the old bolts, there we go, that are in there. So I'm going to have to move this wood up out of the way, and I want to try to get all the rest of the wood, whether it's cut up or that one last final, full size piece. I want to try to get that in here somewhere, just so that's taken care of. And then later on, by the time it gets dark, it's already in here. I don't have to worry about it if it starts snowing, anything like that. Yeah, so I think I'm going to try to get that wood in here. That one big full-size piece, though, is going to be tough. It takes up a ton of space. So I'm trying to figure out where I can actually put it that it won't be in the way of this piece that I'm going to be working on. So that might have to stay out there, actually. I might be able to just put all the other pieces just right there where that one is. And then once I'm kind of done working, at least on this half, I can take the other one and slide it in here through the side door. Alright, so I'm going to get that wood in here, or most of it anyway. And then I'll get this piece up, take all those bolts out, and then start working on finding, if the holes match up even remotely close or not. Alright, so all the little wood is over there. No big deal. All I have to do is remember, do not open those back doors, or all that's going to fall on top of me. Like I said, other piece, just leave it out there. It's too huge to fit in here right now. Gonna flip this thing up, or however I can get it up. Obviously, it's kind of has almost like a built-in locking mechanism with that notch over there. So I'm gonna try to get it up. The old way I used to get it up when I was working on it was put my hands underneath where it was stuck up right there. So I'm gonna have to find a new way to get it up. Get all those bolts out. I think I got like 8 to take out this time. I think there's like 4 on each side. And then put the wood back down. Alright, so I was just taking it out, and just so you can see what I'm talking about when I say there's gunk all over these bolts that are in here. You can see at the end of that, that is just covered in some kind of gray. Keeps going in and out of focus, unfortunately, but just gunk. I think they wanted to do it kind of like seal it or something. I don't know what exactly their plan was for that. I don't know if it's supposed to protect it from water. I don't know, but definitely makes it much more difficult to get my bolts in there then, because all that junk that's on here is also down in the hole that it came from. So yeah, so far got one side totally out. Got the wood over there now, and now I'm just got one more over here. Nice thing, this one's actually pretty parallel. 4 on each side. They kind of line right up, so there's 2 in a row there, then 1 near the kind of front part of the wheel well, and another one back there. Same thing over here. The wheel wells themselves are not actually copy images. It's hard to see right now with that wood being in the way, but the other one is it's higher, comes out a little bit farther. It doesn't really bother me because it's just going to be each covered up by their own bench seat situation. You can see that one comes out farther, and it actually raises up there towards the end, whereas this one drops down there. I don't really understand why, because same wheels on each side, but whatever, that's how they designed it. No big deal. I'm gonna get that last one out, try to get this thing back in place. This is even harder to work with now that it actually lays flat. So get that out. Hopefully I don't have to lift it up a million more times, but I know I actually at least have to lift it up to sand it, put the insulation on it, and stain it, all that stuff. So I at least have to lift it up for that. Hopefully don't have to lift it up to deal with these bolt holes getting clogged up and all that again. Okay, so I actually started on this side. I forgot that I wanted to start over there to be able to eventually get that wood in. and they don't line up perfectly. I tested out these three over here. This was the closest one, so I started messing with that. I still can't quite get it in there. I think I need to make it a little bit wider. I'm going that direction to be able to get it there. But I'm going to stop that for now. Go to the other side, check those out, because I do want to see how far I can get with that before it gets dark and starts snowing, so I can get that wood in here and cover up that side. Alright, so this one I actually got cleaned down straight with the smaller bit, which is the same size I used just to make the hole. And so I was able to, I put it, kind of at the tip, so it goes down as far as I can, and I was able to go straight on down. So I kind of widened it a little bit, see if there was any specific thing that stuck out, like, oh, it's right on the edge of one way or another. Can't really tell, but all I know is that that one goes straight down. The other three over here, I didn't get straight down. I went down and just hit metal. So I figure I'll start with this one, see how far I get with that. And then these ones I'm gonna basically just have to take the big bit, go straight down through there, and then start fishing around, seeing where the hole is, whether it's off at an angle somewhere or what's going on with it. So just to walk you guys through what my process is currently with the bolt holes, try to make it as efficient as possible without making a ton of giant holes in the floor like I did with the first piece. So basically, obviously I use this smaller piece. I don't remember the exact measurement of it, but it's much smaller than the bolt or even the bit. To initially make the holes, when I was outside doing the tracing, then I just use this. I just put it way out so it's extended on there, so it can go as far down as possible. Just go straight down. Only drill through what feels like the wood, and then stop and just poke down and see if it feels like there's a hole, or if I'm just smacking in the metal. After that, once I figure out that this had a hole, I took it's a 1/4 inch, so it's actually a little bit smaller than the bolt, but it's the biggest bit that I have. Just went straight down in the middle. Obviously I didn't get lucky and go straight through the bolt hole perfectly. That's why I ended up hitting some metal. So then I just used this just by hand and put it in there and figured out exactly, if I go all the way on one side, do I hit anything? Or if I go all the way on one side, the other side, do I hit anything? To try to figure out exactly where that bolt hole lines up, because obviously this can fit down there, in like half the hole, half the size, whereas this thing needs to be much more exact and precise. So then basically just estimate where I need to go. Do I need to move the hole a little bit in one direction or another? And I have to make it wider with this anyway to be able to actually get the bolt down there. So I end up, doing the old, you put it down there and then you kind of just angle it and go around and, get all the edges and everything. Yeah, so that's the thought process as of right now, to try to make it fit. Alright, so I'm going to see if I can get this in there or not, and we'll just keep trying and working our way around all these holes until I eventually get sick of doing that, because I'm kind of just in here. I don't see myself doing any more work outside tonight because it's going to be getting dark and at some point snowing, and I want to make sure these bolt holes are good before I actually go out there and start sanding and staining and all that. Alright, so this actually is going in pretty fast. It seems to be lined up really well. Getting in there pretty deep with the drill, using that kind of pulsing thing. The wood is actually still so tight that it kind of whistles sometimes as it's going in, but then it ends up just getting stuck at some point. So I'm going to take it back out. I'm guessing it's probably clogged up because I just drilled all that sawdust into there, so I'm guessing that's probably the main issue. So I'm working on getting this back out, seeing how much I can kind of clean off of there, use like a rag, see what I can do to try to get anything out of the hole that's down there, and then try it again, just put it right back down in there. Okay, my battery is actually getting pretty low. I haven't charged it up since this morning, so I'm probably gonna have to take a break and let it charge up here if I want to film anything else. I got this pretty cleaned up, although as usual it won't focus on the thing I want it to focus on, and okay, here we go. Well, somewhere on there. The lighting isn't the greatest in here right now, so it's hard to tell, but somewhere, come on, focus on it. But right there is, if it ever focuses, there's some kind of junk stuck in there. I don't know if it's wood from basically screwing kind of through it because the wood is still so tight compared to the size of the bowl, or if it is like sawdust, or if it's even that gunk that they've, I don't know why they put that crap in there, but they put gunk in the holes over some type of combination, like the gunk got in there and then it's just attracting the sawdust. I've been trying to get it out, and it's it's not really working out too well. I was using actually the very tip of the screwdriver trying to scrape it. I think I got a little bit out, but there's still some in there. I'm gonna try this one again, get it in there. If it doesn't work out, I mean, the thing is, most of it looks totally fine. It's just that one little spot. So I'm gonna try it again, see how it goes, and if I can't get it in there, I don't know. I mean, it's not ripped up like those other ones, so maybe I'll try to like wash it out or something. But I'll probably end up having to take a break and let this charge back up. I might as well charge that battery too before it ends up dying, and then yeah. So we'll see how this goes. Let's give it one more shot. Doesn't work, time for a break. I mean, either way, probably time for a break to let this charge. Alright, so I tried it again. It's still giving me that kind of bucking kind of action where I get it down so far and then just keeps trying to throw the drill off of there. So I don't think I'm getting it any farther right now. I think I'm just gonna leave this. This will at least be a good like placeholder, and then I'm gonna chuck that other wood in there. It's giving me low battery warnings right now. It's about to die. So yeah, I am going to chuck that wood in here. Probably try to get some of this snow out of here so it's not just sitting on the wood all night or until whenever I come back out here. Might be back out here again tonight, depending on how long it takes to charge and how terrible my back feels from being hunched over trying to drill all day. Yeah, so time to start cleaning up some of this stuff. I will get that wood in here. Probably take that heater out of here, I guess, or maybe I'll leave it just off all night and put the window up or something. I don't know. I'll figure it out, but time to put this baby on the charger. Alright, so it is Sunday. I had some running around to do this morning. Just ate some lunch, and it is time to head out there. So when I left off, I had that one bolt semi in there, but it was getting stuck. I put the other piece of wood back in there. So to start today, actually I think before I take the other piece of wood out there, I might just work on that other side that's still open. Yeah, so it's just bolts today. Let's see how far we get. Okay, so this is first one I got here on this side. It's completely in there. Wasn't actually too bad. I did have to widen it up. As you can see, this is where the hole kind of started out. I ended up having to widen it up over here more to get it to line up. Otherwise, I just used the drill and got it down in there. The width was a little bit, even though it kind of extended out oval-like, it was tough to get down in there, so I just used that to get in. And I was kind of expecting it just to get stuck like they usually do, but it just went right in. I actually got it in there and realized I didn't have a washer in there because I wasn't planning on actually getting anything in there. So I took it back out, put a washer on it, and then put it back in there again. And once again, same thing, just use the drill and it is right on in there. So that is looking good. It's doing a good job holding this area all down here, it seems. So I'm happy with that. So I'm going to move on to this one, that one, and then that one down there towards the end, and see where I get with those. I know I tested out these front two yesterday, and they weren't really lining up too well. So I'm going to check out that last one down there, see if I get lucky with that one. If not, then I'll just pick whichever one I want and just start finding the hole. I just recorded a whole video and realized it was in the wrong mode. It was, vertical instead of horizontal. So to not punish you guys and make you watch through a weird sideways video, basically, this one right here, I'm getting absolutely nothing but metal down there. So the only thing I have to go off of, I keep angling it, trying to get it around feel. There's obviously not a ton of room because the hole's not super huge. I didn't drill it out with the big bit yet, which is good because there's nothing down there. So this one obviously started out over on this area and then had to be moved over to this side. So I'm basically just going to go off that pattern. This is where the original was
obviously was, because there only is the original hole right now. And so the only thing I have to go on is move it over there, just like that one basically was. But I'm going to test out the other 2 holes on this side first, see if I can find anything with those. If not, then I'm just going to take this bit still, not the big bit, and test out a hole, like right here, and see if I find anything. Okay, so I tested out those, didn't find anything going on there. Drilled this hole, and I'm still getting just nothing but just scratching along metal here. So I don't know. I don't want to just cover the whole floor with holes. I have to figure out where this is. I mean, logically, it would just be, just as off as this one was, because everything was lined up when I made that template. So if this one was off in that direction by that much, you would think they would all be off in that direction by that much. But I'm not getting anywhere with this. And I mean, it would be easier to kind of poke around down here if I use the big bit to drill, but I don't want to put a whole bunch of 1/4 inch holes in there. I'd rather use this to put little holes and then just do the big one when I actually find it. But I am getting nowhere with this. I'm not even sure what direction to go in now, because I thought that at least by going here, it would allow me to reach out further, this way, just find it. If it wasn't directly right under here, at least I would be able to poke around and see if I can get it, but I'm getting nothing. So if there wasn't so much snow on the ground, I would actually consider trying to get underneath the van and see if I could find any of these holes and just drill up through them. If it was possible, if I could get the drill bit to go that far and everything. But I mean, it would be, I would have to shove up like a whole side, and I would be just soaking wet and cold. And I don't even know if it's possible to see. I know I saw a couple of these when I went under there initially looking for holes, but I don't know how accessible they are as far as getting a drill and everything on there. So I think I might just have to say screw it and use take one of these, take the 1/4 inch and just put a hole in there and just see what I see. Okay, so I don't know how to explain this, but I drilled out that area, and it's actually going down into this direction, so it's somewhere over here. So I guess my template was just off somehow. I don't know if there was like a crinkle here and that made a difference, but it's actually like the opposite direction. This one moved out that way, and this one moved this way. So gonna have to drill. I think I'm just gonna drill like right here and go down, and that way I think it's far enough over where it wouldn't make sense to just keep widening and widening and widening this. I'd just make a hole, somewhere in this area. If they end up kind of accidentally connecting, it is what it is. I have to fill this in either way. So, all right, let's make another hole and see how close we are now. Okay, so what I did, I actually used the smaller bit just to test it out, try to figure out exactly where it was. Put one here first, and realize that it was actually a little bit over. Then put one here, and I think it's actually kind of like in between the two. So I'm just gonna use the big bit now and just go right, just smash kind of right through that bridge there. And as usual, focusing on something I don't want it to focus on. There we are. Okay, so I'm gonna just go kind of right in the middle, and hopefully that lines up nice, and we can get one right in there, just like more or less we got this one in here. Okay, so this one is in. As you can see, I had a couple moments where I was trying to figure out exactly where it was with this after I made the bigger hole, and sometimes it would seem like it was over here. I don't know if there's just a low spot there, and so it seemed like it was going down further. So ended up with a little bit extra drilling there than I really needed, but that is in there. So I put it in with the screwdriver, because this one I drilled more than I needed, like I said, so it went through the wood just fine. And then once it got stuck, I did the that kind of pumping or pulsing technique that I did with the drill, and I was anticipating it just getting stuck and not working because all this sawdust is over here, and when I was working over there, tons of issues. But this one went right in, so so far this side is working out really well. The other side, like I said, last night, we got one that's kind of stuck halfway in there, so I'm gonna have to work on that. But right now it's covered up with that big piece of extra wood there, so I'm not worried about that yet. But this side is going pretty easy as long as I can get the hole lined up with the pre-made metal hole, then it seems to go in just fine with the drill. Okay, so on to these last two holes on this side. So I was hoping that this was going to be easy, where like, okay, that one's off in that direction, and that one will be off in the same exact direction, and just follow that, logic over here, do the same thing. But because they were off in opposite directions, I'm not sure what to do about these. Obviously, I don't want to get too close to this edge here for either of these. I mean, obviously, I need it to line up wherever the hole is, though. But I don't know exactly where I'm supposed to be drilling here, because I can't find it with this by sticking it down in there, and these are of no help whatsoever, because according to one, I should be moving it up that direction, and this one I should be moving it down that direction. So I might have to just do some just test holes, just going around, doing kind of like corners maybe, and just see what I can get, because there is not a lot to go on here. I almost want to just take that 1/4 inch, just go straight down, even though I know the hole's not there, just go down there because that's where it's marked and find it from there. I'm not sure which one's going to be worse in the end, whether having a couple small holes going around or starting off with one big hole and then having to move from there. So yeah, I'm going to do a couple tests. I might do a little one, might do a big one, I don't know. But somehow, for both of these, I'm going to have to find where that hole is. Okay, so this was the original, that one in the middle, and then I did this one. I still couldn't feel anything with this because it's hard to, I widen up a little bit by going around, and then I poke around in there. If I can get it here. Somehow I can't actually feel it going to that hole at all, but it is there. You can see it from that angle there as well, through that one, even that one. So it's kind of, seems like it's right in the center of these three. So I'm going to take that 1/4 inch and just right down that middle of those three, and hopefully we end up perfectly lined up there. I tell you what, I don't know what the difference was between these bolt holes and the ones that were on that original piece of wood. This one I literally got down with the screwdriver. I didn't even use the drill to push it in at all. So all I did was I couldn't get the bit to stay in between those three. It kept wanting to kind of like wander into one of those holes. So I just drilled out the one that was furthest over here, and then kind of just push it through into the original hole, and then widen it out a little bit. It didn't even end up fully connecting with that other hole. And then I could see straight down right through that hole, and then put it in there, hand spun it a little bit, and then I started using a screwdriver. I expected it to get stuck at some point. I would have to take over with the drill and put the bit in there. And no, it just went right down, so I just tightened it up with the screwdriver. So it's in there. So I really hope that this trend continues, because these three have been so much easier. I mean, like I said, just yesterday alone, I spent like a good 3 hours getting those bolts in there, and that didn't even include however much time it was from last weekend as well. And now here it's been, I haven't been keeping track of time, but I imagine it's probably been under half an hour, and I already have these three in here, and I'm ready to do the last one on this side. Alright, so I decided to give my back a break from working over there. I've been hunched over on this floor all day yesterday and now a little bit today. I decided to start working on this thing over here. This is some kind of like styrofoam padding thing, just to make sure you don't smack your head off the metal here. I've never once bumped into this yet, and this sticks out further than the metal does, so it'll even be more out of the way once I get it off. But yeah, I've never came close to bumping into it, having any issues with it, even when I have to climb through this narrow gap because I got the wood in the way, or there's stuff down here, and I'm not even paying attention to where my head is, and yet I don't hit it. So if you're taller, maybe you don't want to take this off until later in your build or something, but for me, I'm not having any issues with this, and I know it's just going to come off at some point, and it's this big ugly thing that's just here. There's no other spots like that in here where there's big black styrofoam just hanging out here for no reason. The only thing is real tough to get out of here because they have these bolts. These are the size 10 ones, so everything in here so far is either the size 12 or 10 that I've been working with, as far as on the where is it, socket. So like the bolts that I'm using, bolts that I'm replacing that have been in the floor have been the ones that fit in the size 12, and then those little ones that were, you know, only in the back for those couple spots, and were size 10, and I think there were size 12 and size 10 holding down that jack and all those things back there. So these are a size 10, but the issue is because they have this stick out so far here, and it's so close to the roof ceiling, whatever you want to say there, you can barely get, like, you get like a little, like 2 clicks and you back up, and like 2 or 3 clicks and back up, and so it just takes forever. This one I haven't even tried yet. I'm probably actually gonna have to get like another attachment to lengthen this, because that can't even like reach in there. So yeah, I'm gonna get something longer to be able to get in there to that depth. So I'll grab that, and then this should be off in no time. That's the only other bolt that I'm seeing, so that should take the whole thing down. It's still pretty strong up there, even with that just one thing, so I don't know if they have glue on there or how else it's connected, but shouldn't take long. Okay, so got both of them out there. It's still hanging on, so if you look under there, hopefully this will adjust kind of the brightness, and I can't tell if I'm looking at the right thing or not because it's bright outside and dark on this camera, but under here I can see there's some kind of like sticky pad kind of a thing, so I'm just gonna rip it off and we will see live in action what happens. Yeah, so not nearly as bad as I thought it was gonna be. So just got 2 sticky things there. Let's see what we can do about that. Alright, so this one seems to be coming up decently easy, and it just tore. Okay. Alright, so I'm gonna work on these. Might need 2 hands to try to really get this off cleanly and not end up with half of some sticky pad stuck on there. Okay, so I got most of it off. This one's almost completely off, and then this one is still kind of just at that halfway point. I'm thinking if it's warmer in here, these will be easier to get off. I mean, it's getting pretty chilly in here. I should probably start closing up these doors and let this heat actually do something, but it was nice actually having some light come in. But I'm thinking next time that I am kind of staining, gluing the insulation, all that, it'll get a little bit warm in here because I have it closed up with that heater going for a while, and then these might get a little bit easier to get off, because right now at best I'm getting, you know, little tiny pieces, and the lighting is terrible. I'm sorry, because it's dark in here, light outside super bright with all that white snow. So yeah, I'm gonna get it closed up in here, let it get a little bit warmer, and get back to this, and I'll just leave that sticky stuff alone until I get it real warm in here when I am gluing and all that. Alright, so back over here, so this is the last one to deal with on this side. I am thinking I'm going to do the same kind of strategy I did for the other one, where I just take that small bit and kind of just make a hole going around it, see if I can find anything. You know, looking down, see if any lightning is coming through, and if there is something, then that is helpful. If not, then I guess I'll just be taking the big one and going crazy with it. Okay, so that's the original. This one I did, and when I did that one, I saw there was like a little bit of light coming from over on this side of it. So I made one over here, and it went straight down into the hole. So I'm just gonna take the big one through there, see how well it lines up. There you go, you can see it. So yeah, so I'm gonna drill that hole out with the 1/4 inch. See how lined up it is. Might have to make a little bit of adjustment, and then test out, see if we can get the bolt in just as easy as the other one went in. Okay, so I got that drilled out. It looks good here, but actually it needs to be a little bit further up that way and a little bit off that way, so kind of over diagonal that way. But it's just tough to get the drill in there at that angle because it's so close to the wheel well here. So I just tried putting the bolt in there, and it didn't end up going in. It was too much of an angle still, so I'm going to keep working at it, trying to drill out, you know, this area over here, even though it's getting stuck bumping up against this, but I'm going to have to do something to try to open this up a little bit more so I can get it in there going straight down so it doesn't get stuck. Alright, so I actually got it in there pretty far, which I was surprised because it still looked like it was going kind of at an angle. Ended up getting jammed up there. I don't know if it's clogged up with sawdust or that gunk that's in there, or if it's just something with the angle of it is making it catch. It is really tough to get in here to try to open this area up more. I'm gonna take it out, see if I can get it any more with that bit. If not, I might end up kind of just marking that one down as needing to be widened up, and then next time I take this out completely, a piece of wood, I'll mess around with that and kind of screw it out even more when it's just out on top of the that keyboard stand that I'm using as kind of like a I don't know, whatever they call them, like a horse or whatever they call those things that you put your wood on top of. So I'm gonna try it in here though, because it'll be nice to be able to instantly test it, see how it works, as opposed to bring it back and forth. Okay, so try drawing out more. It's still so tight that I actually need to actually screw it through the wood each time, which was telling me I'm not making a whole lot of progress with trying to just widen it. So I'm actually going to try to put the bit either like right there or maybe in that one even, maybe in both, I don't know, and just drill through that and then just kind of connect it, which will end up being an oversized hole, but it'll be that kind of oval shape like I've done on a couple of these. But hopefully then it'll actually get in there, because trying to widen it is not working out. I don't think I'm making really any progress on this side, and over here it's just taking forever. It's just not getting there, and that's just it keeps coming up, angled in this direction, and then because it's hitting that wood up near the top here, so it's not going in straight. I need to go, be able to move over further that way and go down. Alright, so got this one in. Had a little bit of issue with it. I was having trouble. This one was the one I was trying to get in there. It looks like there's something going on with that metal there. Like thread actually looks like it got really screwed up. I don't know if it was that way from the start or if it was just from repeatedly trying to get it in there. But I decided to take this one out, and then I got that one in there. So I, did it with a screwdriver and then did the pulsing thing, and it went in. So once I don't understand why this will not focus even when I tap on it, tell it to focus. So this side is all done. There's only 4 on each side, so 1, 2, 3, 4. So I guess I'm gonna take that giant thing of plywood and either take it back outside or take it over to this side. I don't know which one's gonna be more or less of a pain in the ass. And then do the same thing over there. I know I got that one that's halfway in and halfway out of the one hole over there, but otherwise the other 3 are all untouched, so I got to go over there, and like I said, hopefully it goes in just as easy as these 3 here. Alright, so it was pretty chilly out there, because I was just running around today. I just had my sneakers and regular pair of socks on, so I came in, gotta grab my thicker heat socks. I think that'll be a big help. And while I'm at it, in case you didn't know, I get Christmas cards from Ryan Reynolds. Okay, so back out here, just stuck the little bit down there, and if it will focus, there we go. So there it is. I'm gonna actually need to drill if I go straight over it, as you can see. Looks like I'm gonna need to drill further back, closer to the wheel well with the large bit. Which will be tough because it's just like the other side. It's going to be tough getting that close to it with the drill. But yeah, so I figure I'll start at this end this time. Okay, so here it is. If anything, it's actually a little bit too close to the wheel well. Actually came out pretty good. I'm going to test it out with the one of the bolts. I might need to take off a little bit more right over on this edge, but looks good so far. Okay, so this one is a little bit more difficult than the ones on the other side. It's giving me the old spin, 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 nothing happens kind of maneuver. The hole is definitely right there. I've been working on trying to widen up like this and even this side. It's a little bit tough because I can get the top by angling the drill, like this way or the other way. But then if I try to get in and hit the bottom of it, I have to angle the drill towards there, and then it, ends up not wanting to go in. Obviously, I'm talking about the actual drill itself, not the bolt that I'm holding. I'm just using it to demonstrate it. But so I'm just gonna keep working at it. I got the other side in, so I should be able to get this one in too. Just a matter of keep working at it, and yeah, I mean, the annoying thing is when it just keeps spinning. Like if it gets stuck, it's like, okay, maybe it's going at an angle, maybe there's a bunch of crud in there, but when it just spins and spins and spins, it's like, what the hell is happening down there? So I'm gonna try, like I said, just drilling out a little bit more here, a little bit more there. Try to see if that gets it a better way to, angle in there, and hopefully go right on in. Okay, so got that one in. It fought me the whole way down. So widened it up a little bit more with the drill, then got it started with a screwdriver, and then just pulsed, and it, like I said, it was just fighting every single little pulse, but got it in there. So it's at least holding down this side in this corner. So I am going to move on up to one of these three. That one's obviously already started from last night and it was stuck. So I might just do that one for right now and then finish up those two. Okay, so I widened up this one with the small bit a little bit, just going around and around. End up finding the hole. It's not perfectly dead center. If you look, kind of more over the hole, it's kind of off. So I'm going to have to make the hole more in this area. But yeah, so it's nice that it's nearby that I can see the light, and I'm not guessing like I was over on the other side just drilling a million holes. So yeah, let's get started with that one. Okay, so working on this one still. It looks pretty good. I mean, there's some some kind of like wood chipping right there. But otherwise, it looks pretty good. But it keeps going in, and it goes straight at first, and once it actually hits that hole, it leans off to an angle and then it won't go in. So I can't figure out why that is, because it seems like the hole's pretty centered. So it's been angled going off towards this way, so I've been trying to cut out more along this edge. But I mean, it looks pretty good. So I'm just going to keep trying it over and over again. I'm just putting the bolt in, see if it works or not. If it doesn't, cut more of that, because I don't know what else to do. I tried to get that little wood chip thing out of the way. I don't know if that's affecting it at all, but it doesn't seem to want to go anywhere for either my screwdriver or the drill or anything like that. So I don't know if that might be affecting it or not. But let's just keep trying. Okay, so sorry about that. So still having issues with this one. I'm not getting it to go in, so I don't know if there's just an issue with the bolt, if it got like damaged from trying to go in at an angle. So I went to grab another one to test it out, and that was the last one that I have. So these are all the other ones that were also damaged, like the metal sticking off of it and stuff like that. So these were all no good. So if there were none that were damaged, I would have had enough to complete today's project of, I only need 2 more. I need one here and one there, and then I gotta just finish putting that one in, obviously. But it says there's some kind of weird lock on here. Okay, so I must be hitting things with my glove while filming. Yeah, so I am gonna have to just take a run to Lowe's and grab some more of these. I knew I would need to get some more of these eventually anyway, because I have to finish up the back, but I thought I'd bought at least enough to finish up stuff from yesterday and then today, but these are all too screwed up, I guess, to be able to get in there. Metal ripping off of them or whatever, so those are just done, and I gotta go pick up some more. Luckily, I still have tons of washers because none of the washers have been damaged so far. Alright, so here we are, back of the van. Grab some more of the bolts there. Gonna get back to work on those, well, 2 that need bolts, and then the one that is only halfway down there. It definitely is feeling a little bit warmer. I haven't actually checked the temperature, but I remember checking the other day, and it looks like hopefully we're gonna be hitting low 40s by the end of February, which will be nice because once I finish up the floor, there's not a whole lot else to do other than start drilling into things. So I could do some like lower insulation and stuff like that, I guess. But otherwise, it's really just a matter of waiting for it to be warm enough to actually be able to seal things after I cut into them. So like I can't really do the electrical until I can cut in and run the wires for the solar panels, the fan, the windows need to go in, and so I can't start building the bed or the walls or ceiling or anything until I get all that kind of stuff in. So I'm glad that it's warming up a little bit out there. Still a little chilly, definitely. I'm all bundled up here, but definitely warmer than it has been the past few days, I would say. So let's get to work. All right, so finally got that one in there. Got it down almost all the way, and then realized I forgot to put the nut on it. Right? Washer. That's the word. Forgot what it was. The washer on it. So I took it back out. First time going down was a real struggle with it. But then once I got it out and then put it back in again, it was a little bit easier that time. It looked like when I was looking at the hole, there was gunk in there. In fact, I think this is the one that I filmed the gunk from the bolt when I took it out. So I could see that there was gunk sticking in there, and then the gunk was getting some of the shavings from the wood stuck to it. So I think that was definitely a factor. And then once I went down the first time, it kind of helped clear that up a little bit. So that one's in there. So all that's left is to deal with that one that got stuck, kind of, and then the other one that I haven't really started at all. All right, so something unfortunate that happens here later in the day. Still light outside, but I guess just where the sun is, and especially with all the snow piled up out here, you look down the hole and you can't see anything. Same thing was happening here before I went and bought more bolts. I could actually see down into the hole, and I knew that was lined up and everything. But now I know the hole's down there, but I can't see anything. And that little hole, obviously, the same situation, because it's just dark. So it definitely makes it a little bit more difficult to try to figure out if you are actually lined up, how well lined up you are. So I know I'm gonna need to make this a little bit bigger. When I just took that bolt out, it was singing. It was real tight, so it was real loud pitch squeaking all the way out. So I definitely need to make it bigger. I also just gotta figure out exactly which way when I put the bit down here, it definitely isn't straight lined up. It seems like it needs to go in a little bit, so I gotta figure out which way it needs to kind of be angled there. But yeah, so definitely if you are relying on light to be able to see down to your holes, get your stuff done at whatever time of day where the sun kind of lines up with shining underneath your van, because once that is gone, it becomes, not way more difficult. Still got to do the same thing, get it lined up, but it's just a little bit easier. Especially, it's going to be tougher now to figure out where the hole is for this one, because I have no light source to be able to go by, which helped me out a lot with some of the other ones. So I'm gonna even get like a flashlight and put it down there when I'm looking for that one, because that's gonna be tricky. This one, I already know where the hole is, so not too bad. Okay, so this one, running into an issue here. So if I put that, it actually hit something down there in the hole, which has not happened to any other hole so far. I actually crawled underneath there in all that snow, and I cannot find any spot that looks like a hole. It goes right there. So, I don't know if I'm gonna have the same issue with that one, and I don't know what I'm gonna do about that, because these are kind of like the main bolts that are gonna be helping to hold and stabilize that edge right there. So, I don't know. I guess I'll take a break on that one and mess with that one. And I don't know if I can actually screw through whatever metal. It feels like metal is down there or not. But I'm going to have to figure out something. Okay, so this one went in pretty easy. This one definitely has something down there. It seems like it's probably metal, and I can't figure out. I tried screwing it through and didn't seem to really do anything. It was hard to tell. I can't see down there. So I might just leave that one now that I know that I have that one holding this down. I mean, they're right next to each other anyway, so I might just depend solely on that one and fill this one in. Okay, so for right now, this is just going to be left alone. They have ones just like this that are shorter. I don't know the exact length that I'll need, but it's like $1 a pack. So I'll just go there and get the next size shorter and see if it works. But for right now, I'm going to take them all out. I got like an hour before dark, or at least before sunset. It's already somewhat dark because it's real cloudy now. So when I get out there, sand this, and then I guess cut the insulation while I'm out there, so that's easier. But then I will have to glue it in here because of the temperature. So let's see how much I can get done before dark.
got the insulation taped on there. Since I'm doing it outside this time, flipped it over so it should be easier to figure out where to cut it, and then take it in glue. Okay, so it is all cut, taped down, and in here I'm gonna let the heater run, try to get it warmer. I'm gonna go get the glue somewhere in front of somewhere warm, and then in a little while it will be gluing time. Okay, so this is gonna be like the last step of the day, because after this the glue just has to dry before I can flip it over and stain it or anything like that. So I've had it warming up in here. I had the little heater running, and then I got even the van itself running up in some heat, and I had the glue sitting in front of the heater inside. So hopefully everything should be good to go here. Gonna just do the same thing I did last time, just lift up some of this tape here, put the glue around the edges, and then slap it back down. So let's get to it. Okay, so it is all glued up. I don't know if I explained this the last time, but basically what I did was I folded up these two sides, this one and this one, put glue all around the edge, then put that back down, put the duct tape back around it, then unduct tape this last side, flip that over, put the glue down, and then flip back over and tape it back down. I am covered in glue. Once again, that bead got kind of stuck there in that one, glue hunk, so I had to get that out. And now there's just glue all over my phone. I accidentally touched that headrest. So I accidentally hit the stop record button. I don't know where it got cut off, but yeah, so everything's covered in glue. I'm covered in glue. But I am done for the night, so it is time to clean up. Gotta go wash this off, and then disconnect the heater, close up the window. I gotta get that other piece of wood back in here in this very slim spot here, so I gotta squeeze that in here. And then I am done for the night, and then tomorrow I can work on doing the staining. Alright, so I kind of forgot to mention, it is Sunday, which means it is the end of week 3. So tomorrow, even though tomorrow I'm going to be doing more work because it's a holiday Monday, that is going to be part of week 4. So this is the end of the video, so yeah, bye!